When I was a young man, I was involved, or I don't want to say involved. I was I wasn't even a victim. I was a bystander in a drive-by. And it's one of those things that it's very hard to explain because it's like a scene straight out of a movie. Me and my buddy, we were outside of a party in the neighborhood. And this is one of those things I've only talked about like twice ever. We were standing outside shooting the shit. And you see the car down the block and it's just idling, it's just sitting there. And it's slowly coming up the block. You know, and if your antennas are up or if you always on, fight or flight response anyway, you're ready for some bullshit to pop off. And the crazy thing was, I didn't realize it, but I didn't have any business being in this part of town anyway. So when the headlights turned off and the car started coming down the street hard, and you saw someone come out of the passenger side windows with the guns pointed. I know they say fight or flight, but flight was not working, and there definitely wasn't no fight. You can't fight bullets. They started popping off. I did my best to kind of drop to the ground or get to a place of safety. And after it was over, my homeboy that was with me, he didn't make it. They say that your life flashes before your eyes, and at that time, I hadn't lived a lot of life. But my life did flash. And the crazy thing is, I don't even really recognize who it was I saw in that flashback. Are you ready to see what having a flashback of your life would show you? Hello, Governor. This is Rakai Steed, nupefromdaville, and I'm here to do a very quick recap and then a media therapy deep dive on Doctor Who, Season 7, Episode 14, I think it is. We're at The Name of the Doctor. It's the first in a loose trilogy to the end of the Matt Smith, our 11th Doctor era. Now, we met the Great Intelligence in Episode 6, maybe, where we first kind of got our really good look at Clara. He kidnaps the Paternoster Gang, which is Madame Vastra, Jenny, and Strax, because he knows that they're close to the Doctor. And he forces the Doctor to go to an undisclosed place, but the Doctor finds out that he's going to Trenzalore. Now, the Doctor's been scared of going to Trenzalore the entire time because he knows that if he says his name, Trenzalore is the place that he will die. And he figures if he's being made to go to Trenzalore, time is up. Now, the Doctor's had plenty of brushes with death, but we know about his regeneration. But there's ways to stop the regeneration. The Great Intelligence plan is to open a door in time and go back into that door to erase all evidence of the Doctor. So all the good deeds that he's done, erase them. So that means all the worlds he saved, all the people he saved, all the relationships he's had, all of the relationships that are a result of his influence disappear. For instance, Strax forgets that he's one of the good guys and that he worked with Jenny and Madame Vastra, and he attacks Madame Vastra, and unfortunately she has to kill him to save herself. We see the return of the Whisper Men, who were the ones who kidnapped Madame Vastra and Jenny and Strax. We also see River, show back up. And you know, I love me some River. River unlocks the door of the TARDIS. She says the doctor's name so that he doesn't say it, which is kind of one of those conundrums where since he didn't say it, he still is not going to die yet. But the great intelligence does enter his time stream. The key to this is Clara, because we find out that really that Clara has helped the doctor throughout his existence almost, that she's helped him through time and space. Now, if the doctor's erased, that means Clara's gonna kind of be erased, because then she wouldn't have helped him because there would have been no him to help. So the doctor goes into his own time stream to save Clara. They end up awaking and they see a shadow and they see a figure in the shadows that Clara doesn't recognize. And the doctor tells her that that is him, but what he has done in the past is not in the name of the doctor. And the episode ends on a great cliffhanger where we see the shadowy figure turn around, and it happens to be John Hurt, known as the War Doctor. You know that I love my quotes, and this quote comes from an irreverent source, but it's a source that's worth looking at, and it comes from Gerard Way, frontman of the band My Chemical Romance. And he says, "One day your life will flash before your eyes. Make sure that it's a life worth watching." You know, that story I told at the beginning, I've had a few other brushes with death. Car accident, some other things that happened where I could have swore that my life flashed before my eyes. And the crazy thing is, each time it happened, it was different. Now I know that's because I've grown older, I've matured, I've become more vintage. But it's also because I don't recognize the young me. The young me from that story that I told at the beginning, I don't even recognize that. And if it wasn't for the trauma that left behind, I would barely remember that story. And yes, I still go to therapy, but I have a problem where events in my life, if they weren't important to me, I forget them altogether. And it's unfortunate. Like, my brother can see someone and remember everything about them. Like, he went to school with them, they sat together in third period, and at one time he was cheating off his notes. You could have sat next to me in class last year and I'll be like, "Who are you?" I don't remember. Now, I could say that that's part of just being in the military. We were military brats, and me and my brother, we moved every year, every other year. I could say that's some sort of mental deficiency as I've gotten older. Because like when I was younger, I had photographic memory. I could remember everything. And now I can't remember anything. But it's anything that's not really that important to me. It was almost like a defense mechanism. As I got used to losing things or the trauma of having to deal with things, I just Control Alt Delete. Whatever. You know, a lot of times people come across me or people know me all the time from college, from past jobs or whatever, and they reach out and they be like, "Hey," and blah, 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 and small talk. And I'll rack my brain, you know, and I can even see their picture and I gotta go through stuff and I'm like, where do I know them from? And yes, it is a terrible, terrible thing to have to deal with. But as part of that, I have changed so much in a lot of good ways. and some not so great. You know, I'm still having a problem with discipline, so I'm still extra fluffy over here and rocking 1.5 dad bod. And the thing is, it's crazy because I got a whole 6-pack, 8-pack, 12-pack up under here, camouflage, ready to be exposed. Sun's out, guns out. But all this layering, this camouflage over is like, I don't know if you're ready to get that out of layaway. You know, that whole life flash before your eyes is a common phrase. And it usually describes an extreme moment of danger or fear. And it's where you start reliving key moments of your life in rapid sequence. Now, on a religious tip, it could be you are being judged. You have walked before. You have walked by whoever is going to do your judgment, and they are judging your life. Does it turn out the way that you thought it would? You know, that is the question to ponder. As Gerard Way said, when you look back over your life, was it a life worth watching? You know, the key is you have to be more than just a good person. A lot of people think they're good people. There's a lot of people out here that are oppressing people and infringing upon people's rights, and they don't think twice about doing some evil shit to people and still consider themselves to be good people. Because what exactly is a good person in these days? Social media and TV will have you all twisted up on what actually a good person is. I thought this particular episode of Doctor Who was interesting because the doctor really got to look back at some key moments in his life. And as things start to disappear around him, he got to see the actual good that he did in life and where it made a difference, why it mattered. And most of us, we don't get that chance. We hope that what we did, what we said, made an impact. I had a student of mine reach out to me just yesterday. And it almost was one of those moments that made my eyes start sweating because she has gotten a chance to audition for The Voice. And that makes me so proud. And the crazy thing is, you know, since she was in school, I've had very little interaction with her and, you know, keep up on Facebook or what have you, but she was always super talented. She's grown into an extremely beautiful young woman. And I remember when she used to come in my class, just the type of class, the way that I ran my class, we'd always do like icebreakers and things like that. And a lot of times she'd come in and I would let her, let's get class started. And she would sing to class. That's how we get class started today. You know, some days it's a puzzle, some days it's a word problem, some days it's somebody tells a joke, some days it's her singing, some days it's somebody rapping. When you're in my room, I needed you in a good mood. We're about to study, we're about to learn. So whatever baggage you brought with you to the door, leave it at the door. And for this short amount of time, we're gonna deal with the work, and then we can get back together later and let's talk about life. And now, through all these years, through all the work and whatever she's had to go through, she's getting the opportunity of a lifetime. Is your life worth watching? The beautiful thing about life is it's never too late. If you have lived a pretty shitty life and you can come up with whatever excuse you want because it was money, because it was someone else's fault, whatever, you have time to make it right. Because at the end of the day, when you're standing on the mount and you're at judgment, No one is responsible for your life but you. You can't go to the upper room because you said because your mama was a Christian and she went to church all the time. It ain't got nothing to do with you. Did you live a life worth living? And if the answer to that is no, or not yet, well, hurry up. Start living. This is Rakai Steed, nupefromdaville. Make sure to like, comment, share this as much as possible. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I'm not quite sure what you're waiting on, but subscribe. Hit the button. Make sure whatever you do, remember, it's always about this, but even more importantly, it's gotta be about this.